Morning guys, how you doing? Like Lara said, really appreciate everybody's effort in coming today. We were talking to Dylan and Lara about the speech today. It was really just about sharing what we've learned in the past 6 years as XCM's been going. And in terms of single customer views, CRM, data integration, etc., which you're all working with data every day. So it's just to share what we've learned really and what we think is really important going forward. I know we've got different levels of people here, directors, analysts, and also data owners and data businesses. So it's a bit of a mix, but hopefully you'll take something from this today. Okay, just a little bit about XCM quickly. If you guys don't know us already, XCM stands for cross-channel marketing. We've been going 6 years. We've got a fair bit of experience in terms of different areas of business. Our MD, GE Capital, Samsung, and then came into retail and was commercial director at Shop Direct. Also worked for Transactis and CDMS for a small time. We've got offices in London, York and Gibraltar. We've got a presence in Gibraltar because we do all of Gala Coral's data warehousing, analytics, campaign management. All the gaming guys are running over there now. So we thought it'd be important to have a presence there. We've got about 40 staff. We're recruiting quite intensively and working really hard to get better talent into the business going forward. So quite a lot of experience. We're also going and looking at client side as well. So some of our more senior members of staff have actually been on your side of the fence for 15 to 20 years. It's very important that we have that view in our business, certainly to give that so what scenario factor around, okay, look, we're finding this and we're finding certain things, variables coming out, but actually making that meaningful and actually mean something to you guys to make an action or a change is really important. So that view as well has been really transformational for us. The approach at XCM in terms of how we think and what we're all about is very much surrounded by two core areas: single customer view and contact strategy. Talk to a lot of businesses, going into talking to prospects or partners and even clients that we don't host a single customer view for. That's the real starting point. But single customer view is quite an overused term now, and it's been around quite a long time. So what does that really mean? So I just want to talk a little bit about what a single customer view should be nowadays, going forward, and what it needs to be in the future. And then obviously the action, really, the contact strategy. You can have a single customer view. We talk to lots of businesses, yeah, we've got a single customer view. Well, what's the action? Where's the contact strategy wrapped around that? How do you action the value? And that's really important because a lot of companies get that wrong. And then in terms of our approach to how we go about campaign management, go about CRM, it's called CPOC analysis, customer, product, offer and channel, which is nothing new really. I mean, it's four major areas of any retailer and home shopping company in terms of what you need to do, but we try and think like this when we're doing segmentation and campaigns and data integration as well. So who are the customers, the products that you've got to offer as well, and really important that even the product guys understand the data, understand the customer profile and what product we need to push what customer and when. And then the offer, we do a lot of offer management too. It's really important. We don't want to give away margin. It's all about profit, so that's very important. And the channel as well. Everybody's using different channels now to talk to customers and take orders from customers as well, in inbound, outbound. So that's really important to understand and integrate. And we all know what it's all about. It's about reducing churn, trying to keep an active database. Lara just mentioned there about the multi-buyers and recency in terms of Abacus is getting stronger, so that's going to help that. In terms of insight, and then profitability. We know that we don't exist unless we make our clients profitable. So it's very important. If they're profitable, hopefully that will come into XCM as well in terms of longevity. Partnerships. So really important that we have solid partners in terms of technology and data. We also work with CACI, and again, Lara was mentioning the data community. It's very important that we harness a lot of data in terms of what's available to us. Aptico, Fast Stats, you've probably heard of that before, but that's technology in terms of campaign management and campaign automation. I'm not going to go through them all, but obviously Epsilon, Abacus there. That's kind of a new relationship, but I'm very, very keen to open all our clients up to the alliance because there's a lot of benefit in there. And having looked at all the co-ops available, Abacus is absolutely number one because they stick to what they're good at and they're very, very good at it. And the data in there as well is very rich. So I'm very keen to get our clients involved more and more with that. Lexa, just to mention, that's a social media tool. Social media is getting bigger and bigger now, so having that integration as well is very important. And also IBM. So IBM now are buying lots of businesses, core metrics, Unica, so that's real-time decision engineering, which is more prevalent in gaming actually at the moment in terms of data and campaign engines, but we're also a partner of theirs as well. So in terms of technology, we're fairly well set up. So getting into what today's all about, so what exactly is CRM? If we went around the room, I think we'd get 100 different answers about what that actually meant. I just went on the internet and had a look at some definitions in terms of what CRM actually means, because it's quite a big word and there's lots of things involved with CRM and data. But I'm not going to read them all out, but it's basically, we all know that it's about that relationship between the customer and the brand, and that's what's most important. And you can have different terminologies of what that might mean, and different strategies to help that happen. But CRM ultimately is that relationship, and the customer, all the customer cares about is getting a good service and a good product. So they expect you to know as much about them as possible, and that's all about the data. So having said that, one common fact though about across the board in every business is that the customer pays the bills, and that's something we all have to remember. All the businesses are driven by the customers paying the bills, and so let's try and start to harness that and think about that when we're building our businesses and our budgets all around the customer, because that's what's most important. I think we'll all agree with that. So some pain points and barriers that exist today, and this isn't about, these are all quite valid as well actually, and it might seem a bit bold this slide, but it's not meant to be disrespectful in any way to anybody, but these are the things that we hear a lot, and ultimately we need to get to 30,000 feet and look at what's going on sometimes. So change can be difficult. We know it's hard to change. You might have things in place that takes a long time to change. And we accept that, and it is hard. When we've changed solutions for clients, it's not always easy, but you do need to push it and try and make that happen. Business perception understanding. My CEO just doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand data, or my team doesn't get it, or they think we're okay again. But we've taken a lot of clients on journeys in terms of how do we educate that business then? How do we move that forward in terms of understanding the customer and what's most important? So if you have good suppliers and partners, they should be able to help you with that over time and start to educate the business in terms of how important CRM and data is. Affordability and budgets. I don't have the money. Well, in a lot of instances when we go in, we actually save money. It's not about giving you more bills and invoices. It's about actually optimizing the marketing spend through data and understanding, and actually at some point save money that Antony's maybe just going to talk about shortly. Systems and support. Our systems are a nightmare. Well, as we develop in terms of what the customer expects digitally, socially, that's just not going to stand anymore in terms of sorry, there we go. The system. So if your systems are a nightmare, it's hard to get data out of it. That's got to change quickly if you want to survive going forward. So that's something again that good providers. It's not just about XCM. There's lots of data providers out there that could help with this, but it needs to change. Ignorance in terms of some people say we do it all ourselves. We don't need help. Well, that might be true, but a lot of companies that we go and see, somewhere can be added value. There'll be added value somewhere, and it's always good to get a second opinion on what you're doing, and actually someone to come out of it and look at in terms of what you're doing as a business. Time as well. I can't think about next year. I'm so busy dealing with this year. Well, that's also true, and everybody's really busy. But also is that an excuse as well in terms of, well, yeah, we get that. We need to trade. We need to make money this year. We need to hit budgets and hit targets. But it's not just about this year. So you need somebody thinking about that in terms of where you're going to be in a year, 2 years' time. So why can't this continue? I mean, one big thing that everybody's talking about now in retail and marketing is attribution. How do I know where to spend my money? How do I know what channel's most profitable? And it's not just about DM or email or SMS or telephones or anything like that. It's also about the digital channels that you're all spending money on, most likely, about PPC, SEO, affiliates. How do I understand where these customers are coming from and what they're paying us back? And you can only do that through data, integrating data, understanding the data and pulling that into a stable platform that's future-proof. And we're working with lots of clients now about how, and it's not always easy, and everything's slightly different with different companies. But you've got to really think about that going forward, because not all channels are profitable, and doing the same thing year in, year out isn't always a good idea. Increased competition, are they eating your lunch? Other companies are looking at this in detail and are wanting to really inspire change in terms of data and CRM. So you must try and differentiate yourselves from the rest. And value innovation's a word of mine I like. It's just about making yourself different through value, not just about being cheaper or being quicker in terms of service or having a faster website. It's about how do I change my brand different to my competition that people's going to value. So how do I move it away from that and offer an all-round service through value, across the board, in terms of being innovative going forward. Customers and getting smarter, we know that, Lara touched on that. Everybody's getting cleverer now in terms of what's available to them and the options that they've got. So even more so that you need to know more about them. They expect you to tell them, they expect you to know what they like, when they like it, and what they're all about. So it's very important in terms of profiling, understanding and segmentation of all data, not just transactional data, but online and digital data as well. And service expectations, again, I saw the other day that Amazon completed the first minute delivery from online to delivery in 15 minutes. That's amazing, and the guy must have been living over the road from the distribution centre. But even so, people are going to start to really expect that in terms of, I need my product, I need it now, I need it tomorrow. And they shouldn't always have to pay more for that. So that's obviously a service thing, but also you have to understand more about the customers in order to understand what they really want and what's important to them. We know about mobile devices now, it's massive. We've seen a big shift now in orders and web visits from mobile versus desktop, which is really important to have an optimized mobile site now, and apps is coming into play as well. So it's thinking about that, but behind that is the data. It's the data to pull the data in and make that really meaningful and actionable. You need to know your customers inside out. So what are the data sources, in my opinion, that we've been looking at that gives you optimal performance? Yes, everybody's got a website. Everybody trades through websites. And we obviously receive data from websites and then also put data back into websites. Web personalization is big now, moving forward. Keep pressing that button, sorry. Stores as well, or point of sale. Jack Wills, worked with Fatface and Summers, all got high street presence. And, capturing data in store isn't always easy. One big thing we did there is actually educate the store managers. We're not trying to steal your sales and get them online. We're trying to understand more about the customers so we can give a more holistic view and then try and drive them back into your store, because that's what they like to do. So it's about pulling that data in as well and being innovative about how you capture data. If you haven't got an amazing EPOS system, we've put microsites in on the tills or on an iPad in store to get their email address, the postcode. You can do things if you really put your mind to it. Competition surveys, Facebook, online, customer research, really important customer research now. I know Antony does a lot of that, the businesses he works at, to understand what they really think, how they feel about the brand. Very important that comes in as well on a regular basis. Third-party data, we mentioned CACI, Call Credit. Very important to have a third-party view of your data in terms of profiles. Web analytics, that's a big thing. You're going to hear more and more about that going forward. We're developing a solution at XCM, and I know that Abacus are thinking about this as well in terms of the web activity. And we're hopefully going to start to capture that data on the web at an individual level. So you can build lots of variables off that. Imagine the behavioural data that you could capture in your single customer view. It's not just about what they buy, it's about when they come on the site, how often, last product viewed, first product viewed, number of site visits. That can all get very attractive in terms of a model going forward and insight. Social media, you might not be into social media just yet. It's not for everybody, but it will be. It will be in 5 to 10 years. It's gonna go that way. All your new customers coming in are going to be more and more socially active, regardless of what you sell. So that's very important. Not just in terms of having a social tool, but integrating that as well with a single customer view. You've got to start thinking about that, because what are they saying about your brand? What Jack Wills, they're thinking about at the moment. What should we call a hoodie now? What should we call joggies now? What are they calling that? The new customers that are coming in. Should we change our language? And how do we talk to them? And social media will give you a lot of that rich data. And then also a very important retail transaction, which is where Abacus comes in. Understanding that share of wallet, understanding their recency with other brands and what they're doing in terms of out there in the home shopping industry is very, very insightful and very powerful. So that's another element that we'd love to host in terms of a single customer view in one solution. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about the data that we need to start thinking about. Fundamental CRM, which we've learned over the past couple of years. Yes, data is very important about capture, sources. The databases that we build now could have 10 to 15 data sources coming in from multiple different areas. That is hard work, but if it's done properly and the validation's right, it can work. And that coming into one place, in one view, on a daily basis, or even more frequently than that, is very powerful in itself. The technology then on top of that, you guys should have technology on your desktops or available to you on apps or web portals to actually get actionable insight on a regular basis. You don't want to know what's and all every day, but having regular insight, and that's technology. So it's, the data warehouse or whatever you hold your data in has to have some technology around that, and it has to be future-proofed as well. It's not just about next year or the year after. We have to start thinking about that, because it does take a long time to get in there sometimes. People's massive, and that's probably the most important thing. A lot of companies have some great solutions, but maybe they don't have the people internally or the partners to make that happen. There's lots of people we go and see where they've got a reasonable setup in terms of data and technology, but they're not getting half of what they should be getting out of it. And that's just down to time, people, or even the setup as well. We're fairly bold in terms of what we think about how people should structure things as well around CRM. And having an email team separate from a CRM team, separate from an analytical team, isn't always ideal, and there's barriers there. So we have to bring that together, and everybody has to get buy into that. It's really important to try and transform how people think when you put a solution in. Insight, obviously massive. That's all about what's the value, where do we get that from, and how do we make it actionable? Lots of people, I would say, are good at analytics, but are they good at insight, making that mean something? So analytics is numbers and data and models, but what does it mean to me? How's it going to make a difference? And that's really important to think about that and have partners and people in your business thinking about that. Value, obviously, number one, not just in terms of a partner and getting your money back from them, but value across the board. Getting buying and merchandising involved, getting customer service involved, getting all the marketing, above the line marketing teams involved, stores involved. It's all around the customer at the end of the day. And the value, it's not just about making more money, it's about educating everybody in the business and really feeling that I've got a CRM tool that's really driving us forward in terms of insight as well as pounds and pence. So all that together, is true CRM in action. It's not just about the database or the technology. Everything's got to work together. The process approach that we try and put into play, you've probably heard or seen this before, but it's insight, action, value. Whether we're writing a brief or building a model or writing a proposal or building a database, everybody's got to have this mantra in terms of what's going on. What's the insight or what's the requirements? What's the action or change and what's the value from it? And if you can start to think like that and your teams can start to think like that on a regular basis, you're going to do well. So that's very important for us at XCM to have that mantra and process in place every day, because that's what it's all about. Okay, so that's me. So I just want to hand over to the guys, just some case studies in terms of what we've done with both brands here. We host single customer view CRM platforms for both Chums and Jack Wills. Been working with Jack Wills about a year and a half and Chums about a year now. So I'll let them guys talk a little bit about that. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name's Antony Eden. I'm the head of marketing at Chums. I've been with Chums for about 2 years now. Prior to that, I headed up the marketing at boohoo.com. And JD Sports Fashion across all of their retail features. And within the retail environment, data's always been very, very important to me. And when I started at Chums, we weren't very clued up from a data standpoint. We had a glut of customers. We had nearly 2 million customers within our database, but all of that data was hosted and managed by our IT team, who weren't really very close to that data, and they weren't really that focused on the consumer. So we started to work with XCM to really bring all of that data into marketing, into a single customer view, so that we could A, understand our consumers a lot better, and B, target them more appropriately at the right time with the right message and the right proposition. So a bit about Chums. We've been established for about 35 years now. We have got a turnover of just over 30 million. We target a mature market, so the average age of our customer is around about 70, which is very different to Boohoo and JD Sports Fashion. But in the end, they do react in a very similar way, and we are one of the largest direct mailers within the UK from a volume standpoint. We send catalogues out to our customers every 21 days, so you can imagine that changing the ways in which we send and optimising the people that we communicate to can have some massive cost savings on our marketing activity. So before joining Chums, we were very, very focused on data, but it was all retained within our IT department. And what that meant was that we had some very, very basic selection criteria to send to our customers, and it was all really revolving around a very basic RFM model. Which was profitable. We were communicating to our customers on an ongoing basis, as I said, and the campaigns were very profitable, but there was always a very nagging doubt that we were targeting people who wouldn't necessarily respond, and because we were looking at them as a complete entity, we weren't sure who those individuals were. We were very, very blind to what was actually happening. All of our campaigns were measured on media codes, and because people were coming in over the phones, they were sending orders in through mail, and they were transacting over the website. We weren't really sure about exactly which campaigns were performing for us and which ones weren't. We had dump codes for people who came and ordered over the web, so people who weren't necessarily triggered to respond by a catalogue were getting allocated into catalogue sales and the performance that those catalogues were achieving. And it just made us very, very blind, and it made the campaigns that we were putting out there very intransparent, if that's the right word. We were very profitable as a business from a direct marketing standpoint. It was working well, but we really wanted to optimise where we were at and get a much clearer view about who our customers were so that we could forge better relationships with them. So, as Luke said, we started to engage with XCM about a year ago now, and the improvements that we've made have been quite substantial within that short time. So the data consistency and accuracy that we have about our customers is key. We do a lot of off-the-page advertising in the national press. We've got a very large budget focused in and around that to recruit our customers. And what that meant was that we were quite often getting numerous customers coming on board with multiple accounts. So from a data consistency standpoint, we've now got a single view of our customers. We know exactly how they were recruited to us. We can tie all of their different accounts together. And when it comes to targeting people, we've got a joined up view of consumers across different levels, and we can understand who our best customers are a lot more clearly now, because someone with 7 accounts may have looked like an average customer. You combine all of those accounts together and they're a fantastic customer. So we're able to get a much clearer view on the consumer from that standpoint. We're now a lot closer to our data as well. When I first started with the company, I was asking a lot of questions about our customers, about our transactions, and I used to go to our IT department and ask the same question 5 times, and I'd get 5 different answers because we weren't as close as we should have been to the data that we had. And getting XCM involved now has enabled us to become a lot closer internally to our data, and we've got a single source of the truth when it comes to reporting, insight and analytics as well. We've also got much better customer segmentation now. As I said before, we're able to combine that single customer view. We've got a clear understanding now about who we should mail and who we shouldn't mail. Because rather than just using basic RFM modelling, we're looking at the types of customers that we have. We're looking at how they're recruited. So off-the-page customers react very differently to customers that we recruit through Abacus when we're sending cold catalogues out, and they react very differently to web customers. So we're putting the recruitment channels into the mix, the types of products that customers buy from us, because we've got a very diverse range of products, from fashion to lifestyle products to mobility products. So we're able to throw that into the mix to understand who we should communicate to as well. And we're using other data sets, such as the OCI data, which is complemented within our single customer view, to really understand who we should mail, who we shouldn't mail. And we've stripped out a large proportion of our mailing without having any kind of impact on the top line revenue. It's all washing through to the bottom line, where we're seeing more profitability coming through. So we're in a much better place when it comes to segmenting and targeting our consumers. As I said before, we've got a much clearer understanding about who our consumers are. We're able to delve deeper into our data sets than ever before, rather than an IT guy having to run SQL scripts to find out very, very basic information. With the use of the tools that XCM put our way, we're able to really mine the data a lot more appropriately and find out a lot more about our new customers, our existing customers, what our best customers look like, what our poorer performing customers look like, so that we can develop and create engaging campaign activity that resonates a lot better with our consumers. And that data is enhanced with geodemographic variables, as I said before, and in time we're looking to enrich that potentially with Abacus data, so that we can get a much clearer view, even further clearer view as to what our consumers are about. From a reporting standpoint, we've got a lot of automated reports that come our way now. Rather than them having to be manually generated internally, we're able to see on a very frequent basis how different campaigns are performing. We've got less reliance on media codes to monitor how campaigns are doing, and we're matching back individuals based on who was mailed and who wasn't mailed from a direct mail standpoint, so that we can get a true view as to how well and how successful our direct mail campaigns are. And we're looking to, in future, start to get a lot more attribution within the mix, so that we can understand which channels are driving sales, which ones are potentially cannibalizing sales, and we can put our marketing budgets into an appropriate segment as a consequence of that. And finally, we're joining up all of our marketing channels. We historically had separate email service providers and different data providers. We've joined all of that together, so now we can understand and communicate to customers in a very joined up way. So historically we used to send an email out and then a piece of DM out, and they didn't correlate with each other. Now we can tie all of that together and speak to our consumers in a much more joined up way. So that's it from Chums. We have, as Luke was alluding to before, seen some great benefit in working with XCM. One of the big barriers to us actually going down this route before was the perceived cost of a solution like they provide. But I think in reality, the costs of developing a single customer view are a lot lower than people perceive. And the benefits, certainly from my experience, both at Boohoo in a previous role where I worked with Luke and the guys at XCM, and in the current role, is that we get payback very, very quickly. The costs of actually mailing our customers have come down significantly without having any impact on the responses that we have. So we're very much looking forward to working with XCM and Abacus in the future, and hopefully we can start to optimise our campaigns even further.
Hiya, I'm Tom Beeden. I'm the Database and Analytics Manager at Jack Wills. And I'm here today going to talk you through some of the work we've done with XCM over the last 18 months to revamp our CRM system. One of the main issues that we discovered straight off was that at Jack Wills we had 7 key data sources spread out across the business, across different vendors and across different tools that had no common relationship between any of them. The inconsistencies that caused, pretty much the business didn't want to have anything to do with any of the data. They weren't really asking any meaty data questions, and Jack Wills in turn didn't really know who their purchasing customer was. Another area that we really needed to improve was our customer capture was extremely low, nowhere near the industry standard, and any sort of changes that we tried to put in place, we couldn't really track it accurately enough to see if it affected it. Another area as well that we really need to look at was our handbooks. They're our main campaign driver, and we weren't selecting our segments for our circulation intelligently enough. When I joined the business, we were pretty much picking the same pods of people for every season and every promotion. not taking any relevancy or recency into consideration or any seasonality. And in turn of that, we saw very poor campaign performance. Once we had our data solution in place, the level of insight that we saw was drastic, real improvement. We were able to instantly get an uplift of 50% of our data capture by providing automated reports daily, weekly and monthly to our store managers, who were able to track their performance through the week and build strategies around those reports. We also saw a 50% uplift in response rates of our DM campaigns by having all of our data in one place. We've got all of our customer data, all of our prospect data, and all of our order information in one place, and we were able to build intelligent data models, again, touching on relevancy, recency, seasonality of our customers. We also had general segmentation enhancements of our BUA segmentation. It was now being refreshed daily and moving with the ever-evolving data that we have in our database. And with our new enhanced reporting and insight, we were able to prove the value of having multiple formats within a season. At Jack Wills, the norm was pretty much to have a premium handbook going to the base, which isn't cost effective. By introducing and proving the worth of these formats, we're able to cut costs and increase the circulation of our handbooks as well. A big area with our CRM system at Jack Wills as well is because of the inconsistency we had with the data, it was a bit of a forgotten department, so we really needed to raise the profile of the CRM system. With having confidence in our new single customer view and the level of insight, once the rest of the business was exposed and realised all of the departments that CRM can touch and all of the decisions that can come off a robust CRM system, everyone wanted to know more, everyone wanted to have more questions, and it raised the profile from the ground up to the CEO, who now wants to hear regular weekly reports of the goings on with our CRM system. Another new area for Jack Wills, since we've had our single customer view up and running, is utilising third-party data. We've done a recent project, a successful project, when we've done prospect profiling, finding prospects from third parties that have traits very similar to our VIP database and including that in our handbook circulation. We've also used third-party data to enrich our segmentation and bring a bit more of a human touch to our segments by bringing in lifestyle variables, which really helps to translate to non-data people and non-marketeers, helps them to put a face to the customer. We've also introduced some very exciting new digital channels to Jack Wills, one being our personalised URLs for our VIP database. So basically, at the beginning of the season, our VIP customers can now log on to a personalised website where they can see relevant content to their purchasing behaviour. They also can see relevant store to their location, their favourite stores. They can also customise the page, the wallpaper, little touches like that would just give the campaign in general a nice personal touch. We've also seen, which is very important to me, being able to analyse a campaign as a whole. We're now able to collate all of the touch points of a customer throughout the campaign, all of their web behaviour, their store behaviour, their interaction with our emails, their social interaction, collate that all up to one individual and track their performance throughout the whole campaign and analyse the campaign in general as a whole, which is a massive step forward for Jack Wills. The work that we've done with Epsilon over the last 18 months, we're extremely proud of, and we're really excited for the future development of the system. None of that would have been possible without working with like-minded people, constantly looking to improve, constantly looking to push the envelope. Data is ever evolving and ever moving, and you really do need a data solution and a data team that fits that bill. Thank you.
Okay, guys, just the last slide now. Just to recap, I was told that it's good to give some top tips and advice. Hopefully that's come through already, but from today, when you do get a chance, review all the CRM fundamentals that I've talked about. Have a think about that and really challenge that when you go back and think about what could we be doing more, and let's get some actions on the back of it. So try and review and enhance as soon as you can. Data validation is crucial. It's not always easy either. We've seen scenarios where we've had to put people on site for a couple of weeks even, just to drag information out of people and write it down. But all the benefits from that is worth doing it. So it's not always easy, but the data validation is crucial. Nobody likes looking at reports that don't stack up with your reports, and all of a sudden you lose confidence. So very important that's there and it's intact. It doesn't have to be really expensive. There are options. I'm not just pushing XCM. You know, there are options out there. We try and keep setup costs very low, so there's a low barrier of entry, so you don't have to go and find a lot of money to do this. But it is not as expensive as you might think it is. So certainly explore that going forward and think about that. Constantly challenge each key fundamental in your current solution and push the boundaries. I've touched on that already, but in terms of that insight, action, value and the people element, you know, it's really important that you get a good partner or you have a good team internally that understands the goals and what you need to achieve. So keep pushing the boundaries. Embrace change, don't be afraid of it. Testing is positive. You know, Lara's mentioned some new data there and some new models in terms of the acquisition side of things and insight. You know, keep testing and have a testing plan. Don't just keep doing what you're doing. Have a testing plan, challenge that, and get somebody in the business to come up with new, fresh ideas every single week, bring them to the table. Time is ticking. Obviously, I've mentioned that before about competition, but ensure you have a clear roadmap. Not just about 6 months, 12 months, but think about next year, year after. Have a clear roadmap and think about, right, we are really going to need to address that, and don't keep pushing things back. You know, the customer is key, and this is all about that. The data is all about the customers. And the last one, insight, action, value. You know, it's all common words there, but trying to make that actually tick away and really ramp up some momentum and be transformational in how you think and the processes that you put into place. You know, try and have that going forward and talk in that way. Where's the actions? Where's the value? Where's the action value? Because that's what I push down all our analysts and client managers each week. So that's it. Thank you very much.